Welcome to the Florandorder Time Chat. Sophie Carr joins me today, a course and funnel tech partner for online business owners who are ready to get their time back and stop being bogged down by back-end chaos. We're going to chat about how tech doesn't have to be a time suck, how it can quietly support your business behind the scenes, and why you don't need to be good at tech to run a successful business. So welcome, Sophie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So good to have you here. So I just wanted to start with something really practical to ease us into this discussion. So as a business owner and tech partner, how do you go about planning your day? Like, is there a rhythm or routine that works really well for you?
Yeah, so I've been trying to implement more structure into my week. And so I have my clarity calls only on certain days of the week, so that people can't just book in whenever. And also just it kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility and also flexibility about my week and when I can structure it better. So I'm doing that, and then I have certain days that I do VIP days, and certain days that I'll just do client work if I've got ongoing clients on at the time. So it's really much structured around the days that I can be free for being a CEO in my day. So that's on a Friday, and I'll do my marketing and things on a Friday. But yeah, the clarity calls being designated only on certain days, they really help because it just stops my day being interrupted by like these kind of hour calls all the time. So I've done it, try to make it a bit more structured around that. I have two children, so at home it's very much I do the school drop off and then I start work, and then I'm pretty much on until about 2:30. And I will then clock off for the client work, or like client meetings, I suppose. And then it's doing whatever I need to do with the kids after school. And then I might clock on again for a little bit later on. But yeah, that's the hours that I'm now on. And I've got one day that's a little bit longer because they're in after school care. But generally that's the structure that I'm trying to do. And so the rhythm that I'm here for the kids, and then I'm at work, and then here for the kids again.
Yeah, cool. And so you found yourself in this work doing funnels and being a tech partner. How did that come about? Like, how did your interest start in that?
Well, I did IT as a degree, as part of my degree. I did PR and IT as a degree many years ago now. And then, unfortunately, I went into becoming an EA, PA, kind of just fell into that roles. And I've always been the one person that people would come to for the tech side of things and learning how to do the CRMs and invoicing and reconciliation, that they would come to me for the system support. So as part of the team. And then when I started my own business back in 2019, I started out as a general VA because that's what I've been kind of doing. And then I came across Dubsado, which is a CRM. And I implemented it into my own business. And then I had a client reach out to me and said, I've just signed up for Dubsado. Can you help me? So it kind of like grew from there. I was a Dubsado specialist for about 3 or 4 years. And then I've been moving away. I still do a few implementations with Dubsado, but generally I've moved away into the courses and the funnels purely because of the clients that I was working with. They were just in that area and needing support more with their online programs and digital products. So it's kind of brought into that, and I love it because it gives me, I love the creative side of doing it, like the building of the sales page and the landing pages, but then I love the problem solving of building out the funnels and connecting everything and integrating everything. I love that, and working through all that kind of element of it. So yeah, I'm really in my kind of element of doing the work that I really love at the moment, which is great.
Yeah, and not sure, do you know the term Luddite? It just recently came on my radar because a client said to me, I'm a Luddite, which is, if my memory serves me correctly, is someone who's like anti-tech, like so can't do tech that they're like anti-tech. But
not do tech. I think the systems today are pretty much user friendly. There's a few out there that I've come across that I'm like, this is not intuitive in any way. MailChimp, I hate. That thing out there. Please don't come at me. But yeah, there's a few out there that are very unintuitive and very hard to navigate. But most systems now, they're very easy, user friendly, because that's the world that we're living in. Most companies, most small businesses are online digital businesses, and so they need systems that are easy to use. Yes, I say when you don't like tech, or really against tech, it's more that you don't like it and don't want to do it, and it's not your zone of genius, and Nothing wrong with that, and that's just but everybody can do tech pretty much.
Because I love the I love you describing like the creative side of tech. So for people who, you know, and I've been there a few times myself, opening apps and being like, oh my gosh, how do I even like, tell us a bit more about that creative side of tech.
Of tech, well, it is really like, I suppose with funnels, for example, or a sales funnel, it would be building out like the landing page and the opt-in page and making that as on brand as you want, so you can go full creative in that side of things. And then like the back end of the tech and all the emails that you need to sign out, so there's still there is still definitely the creative side of it, and also the big picture as well, like the planning, the funnel maps that you can create, and like just visualization of it. Like, so I think a lot of people go, I can't see it. So if you build out the map of how you want the funnel to grow, like from somebody actually coming onto your landing page and going through to sell, like to the checkout, then into the course itself, like mapping that out can be very visual. So whether that's a creative side of things or not, but it can, like for some people who who need that visual element of the tech, then that is how they would do it. And then it's much easier to see, oh, that's how it's connected, that's where it sits, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm a very visual person, and sometimes it is just like looking at a flat screen, and it's like, how do I, as you say, map this out? How do I visualize this? Like, what's actually going on? I find that really hard. So it's good to tap.
And even when I come across a new platform that I haven't necessarily used before, I find it me personally, I find it very hard to just use something I don't have anything to use with, kind of thing. Like I love to have like dummy tests, or I'm actually working with client work or my own work, and I'm actually building it out, because then you can actually see, oh, okay, if I do this, and that is what happens. Like if you are just doing a trial run and you have nothing to input, no data to use, then it's very hard to kind of go, oh, I can understand that that's the principle behind it, but actually seeing it in motion, I think you definitely need that test data, or like some kind of data when you're building out a new platform.
I'm assuming you have a lot of patience.
Yes, yeah, I love it, because when you actually get it, it's like that aha moment. You're like, oh, it's such a good like relief that you go, I've figured it out, I've got that puzzle piece, it's just slotted in there, the last piece, and it's working. So yeah, like I had to do a Zapier integration from a job form into a Google Docs form the other day, and they wanted the information to be pre-populated into the form, and working through that and how to put the fields in correct in the right spot, and actually like being able to identify which like field from the Zapier integration into the Google form that had to go in. So it took a little while, but I figured it out. And when you do figure out, you're like, yes, it's such a good moment.
Oh, cool. Well, you've definitely, you're in your zone of genius with this.
Yeah, sometimes it takes me a little bit longer, but generally I will always figure it out. That's the thing. I'm very resilient, and I'm very I suppose determined and a bit stubborn, so I will always work out the way.
Oh. And so linking back to what you were saying about your rhythm, is there any tech that you rely on daily to help you with life?
Yeah, so I was using Dubsado in my own business, and I've moved away from it recently just because it wasn't suiting what I was doing, and so I'm heavily relying on Zapier now, or Zapier, and creating integration. So I'll have someone come into my contact form, and they immediately go into my Asana board, and they'll immediately go into my email marketing platform. So if they've marked that they want to be emailed, and then if I have someone booking in a VIP day, they immediately go into my email marketing platform, and they get sent into a sequence. So I was relying quite a lot on Dubsado, and then I was like, I'm not the back end of it to keep up with it all the time. Like I've changed services quite a few times over the last year, just working out the right niche with like the right support for people that need it. So it's been a bit hard to kind of keep that up to date, but I've just been finding that I can do away with that. I don't need it, and I can rely on Zapier just to connect the systems I have. So I use a scheduler, I use Tidycow scheduling. It's pretty basic, but it's all that I need at the moment for just me. And then I've got Kajabi, my own business, and which is more for like, I don't necessarily use it as I should, but I'm using it for my email marketing at the moment. And then I use Google Workspace. So there's a lot of integrations that I use with those. And then I have, Canva, and I have quite a few tools that I have outside that are then connecting through. But those are the fundamental ones that I've set up Zapier, so that when a lead inquiry does come through, like 15 minutes later, they're going to get an email back from me. So it doesn't look like I'm just sitting there on the email. And then they can get a link to booking a discovery call with me. So yeah, I don't have to do anything. I had like 3 inquiries come through, and this week, and I haven't had to do anything. They've just booked in the call, and then we're just going to be sitting waiting for the call to happen. So yeah,
amazing. Yeah, and so that's what you help people with, to like, just strip back the things that are taking away their time, so that they can put that time towards other things. That
there's so much. I came across I got told about an app yesterday that was a Chrome extension that can do SOPs for you. So pretty much will record what you're doing and then create a SOP from it. And then and then you could even put that into an AI tool and tell it to do what you want it to do from that SOP, basically, and it will pretty much, like, you can create an agent to do that. I mean, it's a bit more technical than that, but there are so many things you can do now that with the help of AI that can take away so much automation, like basic repetitive tasks from you that you don't have to do anymore.
Did you say SOP?
Yes, so it's a standard operating procedure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so the way to have your SOPs in place is very fundamental, I think, in a business as well, so that you can start to hand over those tasks that you don't necessarily want to be doing or focusing on in your week. And if you get a VA on board, or even, as I said, just using an AI tool of some description, you can definitely like free up your time in a week by getting those SOPs, because you don't then have to spend the time training that person. You can go, well, it cuts down on that training time anyway. They have a really detailed standard operating procedure that they can just jump in straight away and just see what they need to do, and that lag time is definitely cut down by having one of those in place, or having many in place. And
yeah. And you mentioned, so you realized you needed to move away from Dubsado. What was it that kind of made you realize you needed to do things differently? Like, what would someone else be kind of clicking that, like, oh yeah, this isn't working for me anymore, I need to change?
For me, for Dubsado, I mean, I still love it. I think it works very well for many businesses, but for me, as I said, I've been shifting services a little bit over the last couple of years, just because just trying to work what I want to do best and how I can support people. But I was finding that the back end, the workflows, I just didn't have the time to really go in and update all the workflows. So I was using very manually, which is fine. You can certainly do it. But then the whole point of it is really to have as much automated as possible. And it was like, I did have the clarity calls set up through Dubsado, so it was automating that element of it. But when it came to like the proposals, sending out the proposals, having to do a lot of manual work, like editing those and making it very bespoke at the time. And it was just taking up a little bit too much time. And I was like, not necessary. I wasn't getting enough inquiries through as well to be spending the money on that. So there's other ways that I can do it. Like my Tidy Cows is like a one-off payment, lifetime payment of $29 US. So it's very cheap, and it does exactly what I needed to do. So it's integrated with Stripe, so I can charge through that. And so it kind of took away some of the things from Dubsado. And I was just like, at the time, going, I just don't think I need it anymore. Like it's charging me $65 Australian dollars a month, and it was like, am I using it to be really to the full extent, basically? So I decided to strip away. And as I said, I'm using Kajabi, and I have a year contract I'll plan on that, and it's coming up in November. And I know that I moved into Kajabi for the kind of partnership element of that, and it's not really what I wanted it to do, and I'm not using the platform as much as it should be used or could be used. So I'll be moving away to a different email marketing platform. So there is doing that though. I mean, there is depending on how much contents and data there is in your platforms. I know some people are very scared about moving away from things because it is a lot of time to then pull that data and move it across. But if it's costing you, like, you know, and you're not using it, or you don't enjoy using it, then I just don't see the point of having a platform that you're not going to use. Like, it seems
it's kind of like reviewing all your subscriptions, isn't it? Even like Netflix and entertainment stuff. And
absolutely.
I just, at the end of the financial year, had a look at my tech stack, and just as you said, like, is this working hard for me? Is this worth the money that I'm paying monthly, annually, like, or do I need to seek out alternatives? And just reviewing things regularly is so important.
If you've got two platforms that are doing the same, like I recently chatted to a lady who had like had a Kajabi and then had a separate email marketing platform, and I was like, but Kajabi does that, so why aren't you moving everything into it? And a lot of the time it is because of the time it's going to take them to move over, but you're then charging, like, it's a lot of money that's going down the drain kind of thing, or just being loose because you haven't got the time or the effort to move it across. So I think that's, you know, that is where you, I think, would look to get somebody else on board to like to help you to do that and move away, to save some money. Like, I think it's just streamlining your business, and also like making sure that you understand where people are in the flow of their journey. Like, and things can go wrong if you're in two different systems, and people can get two different things or the wrong thing when the right thing, because, you know, the integration might go wrong. It's just really reviewing what you've got, and whether it's working hard for you and whether it's actually cost effective for having all these platforms in place. It's very easy to get distracted by the sparkly things and the new things that are coming through. But like, I've just came across, somebody sent me Motion, which is another AI tool, and I was like, oh, this looks great. And then I was like, hold on, do I actually need this right now? It's like, you know, so yeah, it's maybe just stepping back and taking the time to really reflect on whether it's needed.
Yeah, so true. I get that a lot. People coming and saying, oh, I've tried this and this, and, you know, oh, and what do you think about this? Should I try this? And it's like, okay, let's review what do you actually need, what's working, what's worked in the past, and what do you like the look of. It's important to do. I was wondering, what's a belief about a time or tech that you've had to unlearn in order to work the way that you do now?
I think that there's a misconception that if you've got 5 days a week, you've got like over 40 hours a week, and you just don't. By the time you like to do client work, and you really don't, you've got to like look at doing work on your business as well, but also like client work. And then if you have meetings in that cuts down. So it's really just being very transparent and like very clear of your capacity for client work. And especially with having two small children, it doesn't always run smoothly anyway, because they could be sick one day and you've got to try and juggle things around. But and I was trying to fit as much in as possible for people, like try and bend over. And I think, you know, bend over backwards and be really flexible for people. But I've just learned that you've got to put the boundaries in straight away, like as soon as you can, because that just saves you so much mental bandwidth as well. Like, you know, I've got an alarm goes off on my calendar at 2:30 to go pick up the kids, and I pretty much stop. And yes, I might jump back in again later on if I really want to. They're doing something that I don't need to be involved in, and I can just jump back in again. But generally, like, it doesn't mean I'm going to book a client or it's just that's for me to do that time. But yeah, setting the boundaries around when I'm available for client work is definitely it's definitely helping the boundaries, and how and the respect that you get back from the client, because if you like are available whenever 24/7 to a client, they will take full advantage of that. And I will happily like answer an email, but I know I shouldn't be, but I'm like, okay. But then, you know, as soon as you do, then they're like, oh, well, Sophie answers, that's fine, I'll just keep going at that time, I'm available this time, I'll just do it. So it's very much like, yeah, I will occasionally still do that, but trying to like, no, I'm off now, this is 20 like business.
Yeah, it is a constant practice, isn't it? Like to remind yourself that you don't need to respond straight away, that you don't need to drop everything, and that you're not rude if it takes a day or, you know, like depending on the email, 2 days, 3 days, a week, like to reply. It's
yeah, like I think the corporate days of my career have definitely ingrained themselves in me, especially as being an EAPA role where you are pretty much like there to support your partner. So if he needs something, you know, I was always like, not always, but occasionally like a plane would be delayed and he'd text me at 8 o'clock at night kind of thing and be like, can you do this? And it would just be like, okay, that's fine. Because, you know, jump and you say how high. And it's very much like trying to unlearn that, so basically. And I'm very diligent in naturally, so it's you know, I don't know if you've ever done a disc profile. But yeah, I'm very high C and S and C, which probably isn't great. You're not great for running a business. I've got no D in me at all, but you know, but I'm very much motherly, caring, supportive. I'm definitely in the role that I'm meant to be, like supporting and supporting others and partnering with others. So yes, and it's very hard to kind of undo that. It's taken them quite a while. Like I'm still trying to do it like now.
Yeah, no. Yes, I agree. Even with what I do, sometimes I have to remember, like, I don't have to be at my desk 9 to 5, or, you know, like it's okay to shift things around, or replying or whatnot, or it does take a while because it's so ingrained.
Yeah, and also because they are clients that, you know, they are paying me, so I do feel like I should be responsive. But that doesn't mean that if I don't reply in the hour that somebody's going to get. I've like, you know, you get that panic going, oh, I must reply, and it's like, well, no, you can have 24 hours. It's perfectly fine. You get clients that do that like 6 weeks sometimes replying to me. So it's like, okay, like, I mean, that's extreme. You don't want to do that. But you can just give yourself that time, and it also takes that time to think about what you need to say back and respond, and, you know, review what you've done for them and go back with it and articulate it really well. If you rush, which I also have been not accused of, but, you know, it's been a case of learning how to stop rushing, because I'm like, oh, I can just do that jump, and then that's generally when errors come, because if you just jump on something or do something, and you just need to take the time. And that's been something that's always been conscious, even since I was, you know, back in corporate days. That was be like a feedback, just slow down a bit, because I'm like, I can do that straight away, and it's like, relax a little bit.
Yeah, we sound very similar.
Yeah, weirdo, then that's good. It's not just
and so I suppose, what would be one step that someone could take who's feeling quite overwhelmed by tech? Like one thing that they could do to kind of lighten the load.
I guess it really, like, in terms of like what, trying to automate something, or I'd say like look at what you're doing on a weekly basis and track it. Start there, and then pick out the things. If you have no automation at all, like I know people that are still like, they may have someone they've got a form to sign up to something, but nothing else is after that is automated. Like they will then have to go and apply them to an email sequence or an email and send the email out. And I was like, okay, well, we can just connect those two. So this is like, just go and do an audit of your week and just see what are you doing. If you do have automation in it, what's the bottleneck, or like what's either breaking constantly that you're going to have to keep going back to review? What aren't you using? But yeah, that, I think that audit, like just have a look at what you're doing, what you're spending your time on, what you don't want to be spending your time on, and start there. If you can't start with anything, it's like, what do you really hate? And I mean, for me, it's social media, but unfortunately, it's something you have to do. So, but there are even ways of automating that, so I don't have to sit there and I can schedule it forever. Which, but you know, like simple things like having a scheduler in place, which I think most people do now when they first start. But yeah, really, it's kind of just like looking at what you're doing, where the time suck is, and how can you potentially automate that.
That's a great idea. Yes, tracking is always, observing ourselves and tracking always leads to nuggets, just like really good stuff.
And I know it sounds a bit like I have to do like, but you know, take the time to go and review it, but it's like, that's how you're going to learn. Like if you sometimes you just sit there and go, oh, I'll just do it, and you just do it because it only takes you a few minutes to do, but those few minutes every time you do it soon stack up, and it could be like an hour or 2 hours every week that you're spending just doing that little thing, because you can. And so why, if you can, just because you can doesn't mean you should be doing it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking about that client you just mentioned about, when someone signing up for their thing and then going and manually entering that on the other end. I'm like, wow.
Is this a good use of your time? No.
Yeah.
So, just the little things you can like be looking at going, oh yeah, I could potentially automate that. And unfortunately there are quite a few, like I say Zapier, but there are other versions of integrators that you can use, and most platforms have a native integration to other platforms, so have a look at those, see what you can do. And Zapier can be a little bit like overwhelming, but you can do quite basic things in there. Just as I said, like going from my form into my Asana board, it's just one step, but it's just, then I don't have to then create another task. It's just jump in and see what needs to be done. And then even in Asana, there's automations that I can move it from, I've done something, okay, it moves to the next thing. I don't even have to do it. It just does it. I can just pick something up and it moves and away it goes. And you can alert a team member, or, so little things like that you're going, oh yeah, I'm spending, little nuggets. So like, I'm spending time doing that, or that's something that's a bottleneck for me and I can't seem to get past that every single time. That's what you should be looking at automating.
Really?
If
you can. Yeah.
There's some things you might not be able to, but most things you can now automate, I would say.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know until you start tracking and observing.
Yeah, exactly.
And to close this out, what's your favorite kind of funnel to kind of work on, or is there something currently that you're working on that you're really enjoying?
I think funnels for me, it's when you're building out a course for somebody, and and then it's kind of working out how they can come in. So you'll have like your initial lead magnet funnel, then they come into that, and they're nurtured that way, and then they can be sent into the sales funnel, and then they're nurtured from that lead magnet, from that sales page. And then if they don't go into there, it's like, okay, well, you click this link but you haven't done anything, so then you send them off into another nurture. So it's lots of intricate ways of you can bringing people in and keeping them nurturing. But the one thing I'm going to be doing for myself is going to be introducing like a nurture sequence for lead captures, for lead inquiries, so that they can get to know me a lot better before we have the call. So, my website has got all my prices on my website, and I know that most people still don't look at the prices or look at them. And the discovery call should be really about, having just seeing if you're a good fit, not explaining what your services are, not explaining what the price is. So for me, and this was a little nugget I got given the other day, and it's like, I'll do this. I'm like, okay, this is something I'm going to do. So as long as they agree that they accept to receive marketing from you, and then you can put them into a little nurture sequence that is literally like who I am, what I do, here's my prices, before you even meet them. So that's that half an hour is really kind of just like making sure that you are going to work well together and that you can support them. And but really by that point they should know that you can do what they need to do. It's just a case of whether you're a good fit. So that's my next project.
So you doing the work now, so to then save yourself the time as you go on, and then in that conversation. Brilliant, very good. You're walking the walk. Walking the talk. It's always something. The more you surround yourself with other people, I suppose, in other businesses, the more you learn from them. So that's just a nugget I got given from another business owner, and it was like, okay, I'm going to implement that because that's a really good idea. Because otherwise I do have sometimes had clarity calls going for an hour where I'm just giving away so much knowledge, and then they're like, okay, thanks very much, and then I don't hear from them again. It's like, oh, I've just spent that so much, it's so much time I've just wasted on a call. So I'm very much like, if I can cut that down, and then that half an hour, the clarity call is really just make sure that you're a good fit, you can support them with what they need, and it's like it's going to be a yes pretty much on that call, hopefully. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing so authentically and for giving us a sneak peek into your life.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. It's been great fun to chat with you.
Oh, thanks.